a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Reunited and it feels so good. Stricky!
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Back on the block, baby.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited.
We're all excited. How was the trip?
Excited. Listen, Austin, it was long, meaning I've never really had to fly that long before. Like I've been on trips and been to Europe and stuff like that, but good gosh, I mean, it was like 24 hours.
Woo.
The first leg 24 hours, and then so the first way we went east, so we went through Qatar. So I went to Philadelphia through Qatar, and then that was like 14 hours, and then another like six or so from Qatar to to Thailand. On the way back, we went through Japan, and that's the crazy story I have. Man, look, Austin, we were so me and my dad, we left Philippines on like Philippine Air, and we get to Narita Airport, which they kind of like Dallas and
is that
other
Tokyo-ish?
places. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So Narita is like a outside suburb, like so it's like DFW, and then it's like Love Field.
Gotcha.
So Haneda is like pretty much close to Tokyo, like not far. Right? So me and my dad both flew there. We split, and it's a sad story, but it's one that it could have been way worse for me. Let me just say that.
Okay. We
split. So me and my dad at Narita, we pound each other, give love. I get in a car for an hour and drive to Haneda. I had a car set up. We both left at the same time.
Okay.
Like we had both about 4.5 hour delay. I mean, as far as transfer, he was going to leave at like 3 something. I was leaving at 3 something. Now check this. My flight goes, and we go obviously over like near Alaska and on into America. I land at 2:30. My dad dang near had to go divert to Anchorage.
Oh,
so they're on the plane. They divert an hour away to Anchorage because someone passed away on the plane.
Oh no.
So it's a sad story. 29-year-old guy. My dad was like the guy, he knew it had happened because of where he was seated. They didn't ask anybody to come on the plane to like help him. So they had the sheet over him when they left. And so my dad literally didn't get back, Austin, until like almost 8 o'clock, 7 summer, 8 o'clock.
Oh, gosh.
So he didn't get back to Charlotte until almost 4, because then he had another delay. So I was like, whew. I mean, like, look, I'm not, not being insensitive, but I was just glad to be able to go straight home and not have to go through what he had to go through.
Right.
Yeah.
We're glad you're back. Plenty of sports to get to. Favorite city on the trip for you?
I would have to say Phuket.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool, man. They just, the vibe there is very energetic. You can do a lot of people watching. Does it compare to an NBA city at all? Yeah. I mean, as far as the activity, it's a small, it's not like big city-ish, but it's vibrant. It's
Salt Lake
lively,
City?
A lot of beaches. I would say it's more like Miami.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of like Miami.
Okay.
A lot of nice beaches, shopping. I mean, pennies on the dollar, some of the good stuff you could get over there. I wish I could have taken an extra bag. I went nuts. But yeah, man. But I would say Phuket, and I got to see the Asian Michael Jackson.
No way.
Yeah.
Did not know there was one of those.
He was getting it. He performed. He did his routine. He looked like he had the hair and everything. It was funny, man.
One glove and everything.
Yeah, he had the jacket, and And the glove. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Michael, Asian Michael Jackson. He was performing on the street, like,
Okay.
not actually in a show, but
like
he was on
Times
the
Square,
street.
sort of.
Yeah. He was on the
Nice.
street. So it was cool.
Glad to have you back.
Man, I'm glad to be back. Shout out to all those who have continued to stay with us on the block. I appreciate the love and some of the messages I got while I was over there from some of the listeners as well. And I'm glad to be back home.
Plenty to get to in the wide world of sports, but it's the end of an era here on the block. Stricky's back, but at the end of an era. We want to say thank you to Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul for their longstanding partnership here with us during On the Block. But an exciting new era. On the Block has a new sponsor. Big shout out to Nebco, one of the premier construction companies here in Nebraska. Been around since 1908. They're provided their philosophy is to provide quality products and unmatched service to customers. Currently and continually committed to improving their products and services to keep current with the changes in their environment. They believe innovation and integrity form the foundation to building and maintaining customer relationships. You can start your new career today with Nebco by visiting nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com. We're excited for that. Also, Stricky, while we have a few minutes here, we're excited about Husker hoops. They finished the regular season at 22-9. They go on the road. They beat Michigan by 15 points. I want your general thoughts in just a sec on this game.
Yeah.
The most telling aspect of the game to me was it was a tale of two halves. When you think about Minnesota, Nebraska dominates the first half in the first Big Ten game of the year, gets smacked in the second half, end up losing that game. You think about even Rutgers, right? You get up by 12, you let the lead slip away on the road. In the first half, it was a track meet, 50-43 at halftime. McDaniel has 17. Casey's going off for 20-some points, whatever he had in the first half. Years past, I don't like Nebraska in track meets. They showed they could keep up with Michigan, though, led by 7 at the break. Second half slowed down to where Nebraska likes it. Many fewer possessions, more of a grind, more of a slog. But Nebraska wins both halves. 50-43, they win the first half. 35-27, they win the second half. Being able to play both styles, no, Nebraska didn't take control in that first half. Nebraska dictated the second half and did a great job closing that game out on the road.
Well, it goes back to what we talk about. And first, let's just say, I talked about the fact that Nebraska took their lumps early. As you just noted, Minnesota took a lump. But we always talked about on the block that there was lessons to be learned. If they applied the lessons, and you could tell that they were listening, they were learning, they were growing. You could tell that they were getting better in certain areas, right? You could tell when they had lack of physicality that they learned and got more physical. And there are things and aspects and execution, attention to detail, little things like that. Talked about Keisei Tamanaga, for example,
right? Not
rebounding, standing, watching. He goes and gets 6 of them.
6?
You know
That's like a month for him.
Exactly, right? So all of those things we talked about. So coming down this stretch, one of the things we said here on the block was it's in their hands. It's like it's right before them. It's up to them at this point to take into account who do they want to be, how do they want to finish, and what do they want to look like? Do you want to look like you've learned the lessons, or do you want to look like it's the same old type of rigmarole, right? They did that. I love that fact about it because what you saw in the second half, Austin, you saw execution. You saw hustle, getting to the loose balls, fighting and tapping and just doing different things to fight for possessions, to make sure that when it came down to it at the end, they were pushing leads and not letting runs overrun, right? Because let's be honest, Michigan made a run. Yeah. They had an 11-0 run. I want to say that 11-0 run was just at about 11 minutes or something like that. It was like 10 minutes. Yeah,
Nebraska got up 20. Michigan cut it to 8 or had an 8-0 run. At home, they were one shot away from making that game interesting again.
But what happened is rink mass, great backdoor cuts, and finding guys. Juwan finding a cutting Bryce and used the aggressiveness of Michigan against them and didn't allow the pressures of the moment and trying to win that game to overwhelm them. And that's why it was beautiful. This is why I actually believe, well, first and foremost, We talked about what a 5-1 run would do for them.
Mhm.
Look where they landed.
Right where you said they
right
would.
where I said they would. They would land at the 3 spot if they can go 5-1. I said they could probably hold the 4 spot if they went 3-2.
Mm.
But they did better.
Mhm.
And that's why you know that this team has grown.
And they had to get the 3 seed. We'll talk about that more in hour 2 as well. But Northwestern didn't fade despite the injury to Ty Berry. They kept playing hard, won maybe a game or two more than expected. Wisconsin continued to fade down the stretch, but ends up right in the same neighborhood as you after they started out neck and neck with Purdue. And we go back to the example because I think it makes sense, Strick, of the football team, right? Where they're 5-3 entering November. It's right there. All they have to do is close the palm.
Facts.
They weren't able to do it. But that's a young team without maybe the leadership, the quarterback position that they think they needed.
Which we talk about is important.
Big time.
Like in college football, the importance of the college football quarterback.
Which is where, on the flip side of that, if you look at Nebraska basketball, we know what their issues are. We've talked through it all year. But they're an old team. They've learned, they've grown together over the last 31 games. And you saw the growth from the start of conference play 22 games ago with the 2, non-conference in between till the end of the regular season. There's a difference in that team. Maybe not in terms of what you're looking at in terms of results, because Nebraska was still pretty successful, but you can tell the mindset different and the games just feel a little bit different.
Yeah. You don't feel like that gonna, like, when you go climbing, rock climbing and stuff, you're normally attached to a harness, right?
Yeah.
So when you're rock climbing, this team normally felt like they didn't have a harness and they were at any moment capable of falling. I think this team seems to feel like they're comfortable on the face of the rock, climbing the mountain, but they have a harness because their harness has been just the growth and the learning and the way that there's a calmness about them that you didn't see this last year, right? You just knew at some point in time it was just going to fall off. It was just going to break.
Especially Fred's first 3 years, or even any coach before that, between about Danny Nee and last year. You felt like, hey, if Nebraska doesn't stop this run now, nice knowing you. Thanks for coming out. It was cute. It's different now.
It's totally different because it's understanding of the roles. It's understanding who they are individually and collectively, right? It's not being big-headed and they're humble. They're humble young men. So they understand that it's not about you, because the success of this team, the collective, the whole team will benefit. Right? And I think that's what's missed in sports today. I think so many kids, Austin, young men, young women, even, you get caught up in the social media aspects and the hype and probably your NIL money. You get all, caught up in that. And you start missing what this team sport's about. It's about the team. The success of the team will make everybody get a light shine on him, right? One person on a bad team can average 30, 20, but to me, it means nothing.
Petaway, Andrew White.
Right? It means nothing. As long as the team wins, it doesn't matter if you're scoring 13 or 14. Everybody will benefit from that. And I think this team has learned that.
I think it's hard to argue anything else. Couple texts on the text line here real quick. Notorious B.I.B., the women's game was way more exciting to watch yesterday. We'll get into that. A lot of thoughts on that Nebraska women's game as well. Just one shot in regulation short of a Big Ten championship run. Brad from Baldwin, Wiltern and Lawrence accepting their bench roles was very important this year.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get to that as well. Derek in the car will finish us off for this segment. Says, welcome back, Strickland.
Real quick, before you go with him. Shout out to Bolt on the YouTube stream. Thank you for chiming in there as well. He said, I jumped on and I'm wondering what Strick thinks about how Caitlin Clark reacts to referees and what she thinks are bad or no calls. That's been, I think, accented by the LeBron James and all of the James Harden and all of those
Trae
guys,
Young.
the Luka, because you got to understand they watch that stuff, right? So all of the trickle down effects, like the James Harden 2-step, And all of the things you see trickle down into the game. And I think that unfortunately that's the case for them. Now, listen, refs are out there. There's some bad ones. So you can understand probably some frustration with refs. But at the same time, Bo, I think there's a way of going about it. Like, yeah, I have frustrating moments. But the way that you go about it, there's a way to approach a ref. There's ways to do that a little bit more subtly. And I think you end up benefiting more by doing it subtly than brazen action, because you may not get the calls, and that's probably what they're doing to her. Certainly not getting those calls from Ref Stricky when he's on the court. No, I'm going to be pretty solid on that aspect. I might even get back into reffing. I'm kind of watching these garbage refs out here, but I just don't like the parents. Right. When you're doing gosh, it's the worst. Some of you parents out there are awful. Did you hear about the fight in the Scott game between parents? No. Yeah. We'll get to that at some point later. We'll wrap up this segment with Derek in a car. Says, welcome back, Strick. We missed you. As a side note, Derek says, I spent 5 days on Phuket Island as a Navy sailor in '89. Perhaps the most beautiful place I've ever been. Yeah. I mean, it really is, man. The people are special, man. They're really authentic. They're genuine. They're hustlers, though. I mean, you're going to have a whole bunch of offers where, people are going to ask you a whole bunch. But listen, Cebu, Philippines was great. The food is awesome. Like, to go into some of these places and have authentic Thai. I mean, lighter. Yeah. And yeah, like you can eat a nice portion of meal. Like the craziest part about it, Austin, was this. Like, for example, in the Philippines, here's the crazy part. You can go into a McDonald's, a Burger King, and God darn it, they're offering rice. Like, you don't just, you go fries and all that. You eat rice with your burger. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm mad at it, Derek in the car, thank you for your service and thank you for the text. You want to be like Derek, Notorious B.I.B. or Brad from Baldwin, joining the conversation, 402-464-5685 with a text or call, or like Bolt here on the YouTube stream, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, you can leave a comment. Thanks to Sartor Heyman Jewelers. We'll step aside. When we get back, we'll go a little big picture with Nebraska men's basketball. 22-9 on the regular season. Just how far did this team come? Just how big of a success is this regular season? And is it sustainable? Erick Strickland, the Husker Hall of Famer, back in his chair. I'm Austin Norman. This is On the Block, brought to you by Nebco. More next. Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to EStrick Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at EStrick Carpet. EStrick Carpet. 1732 EStrick. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit. Update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice integrated communications, Cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months happening right now at Koppel. So take that short money saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with roof credit. Stock number G214773.
Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Furious Cheese Spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Furious Cheese Spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Segment 2 of a Monday show, again brought to you by Nebco. I'm Austin Norman, joined by the Husker Hall of Famer, 9-year NBA vet EStrick back in the building. Delighted, thrilled to have him back. Talking some big picture Husker hoops here. And Textline, I want your thoughts as well. On a scale of 1 to 10, how successful was the regular season for Nebraska men's basketball? 22-9 overall, 12-8 in conference play, 18-1 at home, 3-8 on the road. Stricky, put yourself in the mindset of early October. You've laid eyes on this team a little bit. Season hasn't tipped off. I think the general expectation was get to the middle of the pack in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
If you're in contention for the double bye, that's probably a pretty good step forward, but just don't play on Wednesday was the thought. Well, Nebraska gets the 3 seed. We'll break down the Big Ten tournament next segment. But from 16 wins in the regular season to 22 the next year, an 18-1 record at home, 2 road conference wins in the last month of the season. Overall, from where Nebraska ended last season to where Nebraska is right now at the end of this regular season, just kind of your thoughts on the team and the growth.
So one of the things, Austin, is as Nebraska fans have been inundated with pain.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're overly inundated with pain, what ends up happening is you become numb.
Mm-hmm.
You become numb to it. You just say, like if you have a chronic back pain or you have just chronic whatever type of pain you have, you end up just saying, you know what, it is what it is. I just got to deal with it. And that's what Nebraska fans have had to deal with over these last, good portion of years.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into the season, when I put my eyes on them, as you said, I told you, I said, this team is not what you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, as fans, you become numb because guess what? You haven't seen nothing different. You've heard all of the coach speak. You've heard everybody tell you in the pressers and the preseason news articles, and I really like this team. We're going to be different. We're going to be better. You always hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And this team, when we said that, no one believed us.
No.
Like people kind of showed up, put their peek in, okay. Oh, now the negative Nancy's come out. And then all of a sudden you have, but it's because they're playing a bunch of home games with really no competition.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, it's gonna, they're gonna win these games, but then they get in the conference and they're gonna.
Look what happened when they play Creighton. Wait till conference play.
And then you see Creighton, you're like, oh, see, that's what I'm talking about,
mm-hmm.
right? And then you see Minnesota, you're like, oh, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been continuous. So what Nebraska has been able to accomplish, first and foremost, second best at-home record in the conference to only Purdue.
Yeah, I think you even won more games at home than Purdue. Yeah, Purdue went 16-0 at home. You went 18-1.
Right?
Pretty good.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so that in itself, Austin, is one of the things that if you didn't have anything else to grab a hold to,
mm-hmm.
you can grab a hold to that. That's a huge turnaround. It made PBA fun. It made it great to go in there and observe, and the
mm-hmm.
games were good to see. You knew the road record sucked. It was terrible. It was bad. But you said to yourself, man, it's just fun to go in there and watch them, get after it in PBA, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've been dealing with, unfortunately. So to watch that progression, to watch the naysayers and the non-believers, because when I saw them, I told you, I said, you heard even Sam Hoiberg and Jeff come in, and when they were doing their show, they're like, this team is different. And you hear that so much that you become numb.
You do. On the road record, real quick, Nebraska ends up 3-8 on the road. Wisconsin ends up 3-9 on the road. Michigan State ends up 3-7 on the road. So it's not like Nebraska's alone in that conversation. But that's just the thing, Strick. It's hard to give the regular season, I think, a 10 out of 10 rating for me because of the road record.
Right.
Because you let Minnesota slip, because you let Rutgers slip. Man,
just
think Illinois.
Think of what it could have been if they win those.
You're just 24-25 wins instead of 22.
But see, that's why the lesson. That's why I think that's a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the end of the season, you get those lessons, and you go into the off season just inspired. Like you go in, like you start itching and wanting more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not enough. Like, look, we're not saying it's over because I still think they got to play the tournament. I think a good showing with a double bye in this tournament, and we're going to talk about that, but I ain't going to get into it. I think a good showing even prepares you more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I actually think this team can win a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think matchup
not in
matters.
Minneapolis. The big one.
Mm-hmm. I think matchup matters.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way that I think a good showing in Big Ten, they could possibly end up in the Midwest.
Ooh.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't know. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping they have a good showing. If you can get to the finals and maybe even win it, like get there, see what it do. I think that gives you. I think the matchup's going to be important. I think who they match up with, style of play. I think that's going to be important.
Absolutely. Notorious B.I.B. says he rates the regular season an 8 so far. Absolutely. Cigar Guy said, going into the season, I said 10 to 12 wins. Coach Hoiberg would be looking for a new job. Crazy home record, big wins, no real bad losses. I'm so happy to be wrong. And that's what you're talking about, Strick, the jaded kind of in pain but numb Nebraska fan, that those people, their next question, Strick, is probably, okay, you did it this year. What happens next year? What happens the year after?
It's always something.
There's always something.
Yeah.
But I think this isn't just a one-year fluke. We saw the build start at the end of 2 seasons ago. We saw that team start playing well before the injuries to Bandamel and Gary last year. They regrouped, got it together, and then we see the result this year. You can bring back all but one piece of your starting lineup next year, potentially. Maybe 2, depending on how you classify Alec, who's a part-time starter. It's going to be a lot of the same names, hopefully, next year. But the way Nebraska's playing, Strick, yeah, they led the Big Ten in 3-pointers taken, but they weren't jacking him up off the dribble contested ones. They actually ran action. They got good looks for the right people at the right time. The defense, we know the intensity. We know the approach and the focus on that end. Yes, always get better at rebounding, but 3-point percentage ticked up. Free throw percentage ticked way up. We've seen growth in rebounding, growth in defense over the last 2.5 years. So yeah, the names might change, but Strick, I feel like this model of Nebraska basketball is sustainable enough to where this year doesn't have to be the fluke moving forward.
There's no doubt about it. It doesn't have to be. I think that stick and stay mentality. What you've got to learn is don't fall victim to like what Michigan State has done, right? That same Michigan State team,
Sweet 16 last year.
They went deep, right? So they come back. See, that's the thing. You can't have that mentality. Just because you come back, we're going to be better and great. Your worth ethic slips, your attentions to detail slip. No, you want to build on everything. So your next thing is continue to take care of home. I always said that. Take care of home and let the rest do what it do, and you end up in the 3rd seed of the conference. Now, the other part is you've got to say now, what's the next goal? The next goal is 6 games on the road. Double it up. If you take care of home, double it up. Now you're talking about a top probably 15 team in the country, right? I'm not saying that's leaps and bounds, but it's really not.
Right.
It's really not leaps and bounds.
Finish Minnesota, finish Rutgers, finish Illinois. That's all you're asking.
You're there. Yeah.
Internally, I believe, just given the way this team is walking and talking, this coaching staff as well, they feel internally validated and valued. The next step externally comes after you win this tournament game. Go get that one, right? Have a good showing in Minneapolis. Go win one in the first round. Bring enough people back. You start next year ranked in the top 25, which, again, downers are going to say, well, that happened last time they won a tournament game too. Brought enough pieces back, they started ranked in the top 25. That model didn't feel sustainable. Everyone took a step back from that team. Yes, there are the traps that you were mentioning, but it's not like Fred Hoiberg has never coached a ranked team before. His Iowa State teams were constantly in the top 25. He knows how to deal with that. He knows the attention that comes with it. Can he instill that mindset in the players to not settle for where they're at, but continue to try to get a game better and then a game better? By doing that, by getting a possession better, a practice better, it feels different. And I think that, Husker fans, no matter how the rest of the season ends, that's the message we take away, is that you're in the second season now. 2 losses and the season's done. You're not guaranteed any more games. But even if Nebraska goes 0 for its next 2, I still think there's a positive feeling heading into next year.
I have to agree with you, Austin. I really do. And because guess what? Those are learning lessons. Like, you're now the target's on you. You've always been the one chasing the target. Now the target is going to be on you. That's the part that's a learning lesson. Walking into games where teams like I remember when I played, it was a difference when I played on the Mavericks teams that we weren't very good than when I played with the Knicks teams when we were.
Right.
Or the Indiana team or the Boston team. Like when I was with that Boston team and we were second we had the second best record in the Eastern Conference that year. When we walked into a building, it was like, we didn't care if it was in the Lakers. We didn't care who it was. We was like, we're going to beat the brakes out of them. We could go out to the sun came up. I think I shared a story when we was in Miami and we beat Atlanta and went down them. That's different. When you know you're the guy that's being hunted, right? It's a different feeling, but it's a lesson you got to learn. And that's part of this whole thing. When you're the targeted guy, do you understand how to approach the game? How to be the one with your chest poked out and walk with it like that. It's a different feeling.
Hopefully Husker basketball gets used to that feeling and stays here for a long time. There's no excuse. There's no reason to be a quote unquote football school, be an everything school. We'll talk Husker women's hoops, might touch on some Husker baseball, some Husker football recruiting coming up next hour. But Thursday and Saturday, 2 Supernovas home games. We got 2 sets of 4 tickets to give away to you. First of all, for Thursday's game, first person in on the text line with the correct answer as well as your email address gets 4 tickets to Thursday's Supernova game. Okay, here's the question. Where is Nebraska prep standout Amari Bynum transferring to? That's right. We'll talk about that as long as we have a correct answer. Text now 402-464-5685. Need the school that Amari Bynum is transferring to, as well as your email address if you want 4 tickets to Thursday night's Omaha Supernovas game. He's Strick. I'm Austin. This is On the Block, wrapping up Hour 1 next.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Hello, everybody. It's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I hear that new Honda manufacturing continues to go up, and you have new Hondas in stock now.
That's correct, Charlie. We have more than 40 new Hondas in stock right now. It's great that a customer can come in and buy a new Honda and drive it home that day. New Honda inventory keeps getting better each month.
Okay, then. How about used cars, Andy?
We have more than 100 pre-owned vehicles to choose from right now, and a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in daily. We have just about every maker model you can imagine in any price range.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit, update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
This is Monster Jam.
Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Brought to you by the original Super Glue. Stop by your local participating Westlake Ace Hardware locations for your $10 savings coupon. Restrictions may apply. See store for details. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena March 29th and 30th.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done before school starts. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Spring is on its way. Are you prepared to keep the grass greener on your side? Blades Lawn and Landscape has a position opened at a homeowner association to their client list with residential and commercial openings also. Transform your yard into a private oasis with the professional services offered by Blades Lawn and Landscape, including landscape walls and beds and a 5-step fertilizer program applied by a licensed professional. Call them today at 402-730-6320 or go to bladeslcc.com to schedule a free estimate on commercial or residential lawn services.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up hour one of On the Block, Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you. Trivia question was, where is Nebraska high school prep standout Amari Bynum transferring to? Babalu was first in with the correct answer. Link Academy down in Branson, Missouri. 4 tickets to the Supernovas are yours, Babalu. More tickets to give away in hour 2 of the show, so don't go anywhere. Those will be for Saturday's game. Strick, when you look at this, it's probably the best decision for the young man's future to go, play higher level competition. Link Academy is a big deal. That's a big name down there in Branson. Some of their alums include Elliot Cadeau, who's starting at Carolina right now, Trey Johnson, Julian Phillips, Jordan Walsh played at Arkansas, and then Jacoby Walter, who's been tearing it up for Baylor. It's a prep school. It's unfortunate to see talent leave to go to a prep school, especially from the Nebraska ranks, but it also makes sense for his long-term future.
Yeah, and look, it's still representation because it came from here. The stock was bred here, right? So it's still going to be that. I don't know where he'll play AAU ball, but a EYBL team will probably pick him up or something like that, and that's fine. You want them for their long-term situations to be able to tap into those opportunities, right? When they're available. I mean, it was very regional dominated unless you went to these 5-star camps or these specialty camps that you maybe got invited to. You didn't really get that type of exposure, right? So that's why it's good to have these opportunities with some of these prep schools. Your guys are going to be more physical. You're just going to get an opportunity to be able to do a little bit more. I mean, if he was in a state like Texas or somewhere like that at 6A or something like that, you probably make sure that he stays on the team. But I can understand that, and he could have went to Bellevue West and got him a chip. He would have been good. No,
they can win without him. They can win with him. Stricky, shout out your T-Birds.
Shout out to the T-Birds. Hey, Coach Klein, shout out to you, man. Taking over from Woodard, had a great team. It was a blessing to have a very senior laden team. That helps in that process, and this is what we're talking about with other teams. We've seen teams that have veteran leadership have the abilities to do some things unique because you've been at the grind, you've been at the millstone with each other, you've been going around in the fight, you've been in the trenches, and so they knew what it took to get done. It was a tough game, but how many times? 5 of the last championships have been Bellevue West, Millard North.
5 in a row, Stricky.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
but Bellevue West has won 3 of the last 5, so we big time.
That's how it works.
Shout out to the Bellevue West Thunderbirds, no doubt.
Shout out to my Warriors as well. Lincoln Lutheran, its first appearance at state since 2008, Class C2 runner-up. I was lucky enough to be along for the ride, not part of the team, but be able to see all 3 games. Beat Hardington in the first round, Norfolk Catholic in the second, and then had a lead late, went to overtime, couldn't quite get over the hump against the top-seeded Amherst. But Coach Bowens, the guys, really proud of them for making a run. And again, young team, right? Talk about senior teams being there. 2 of the better players got another year, Stricky. So I'm excited for the future.
Well, when I went to go speak to them, I shout out to Lincoln Lutheran and the school and the coaching staff, and the kids were wonderful. When I went to speak to them, one thing I can say that I loved about them is they were very attentive. They were attentive to the message, and the message was basically how do you basically grow with success? How do you maintain it? What are some of the things that you have to do? And one of the messages to them was, don't try to do anything that you don't do well. If you shoot the ball well, do that. Like don't try to get into handling competition. If you rebound, be Dennis Rodman. Like, be the Dennis Rodman of Lincoln Lutheran. Just do that. Because it's going to benefit. If you're a defensive stopper, you shut down the best guy on the other time. And just do that. Make the right plays. Whatever you do well, just do that. Because you don't normally get better during season.
Right.
You don't improve your right hand or your left hand or finishing with Euro steps in season. You get that off season. And so that was just kind of the message I gave to them. And, you know, I'm not saying that my message is what took them there. No, their work took them there. But
the message didn't help. They never had Stricky talk to him before. So I'm just saying
they were very attentive. And that's all you can ask for a coaching staff. A team that's attentive, they're listening, because everybody thinks they know it. Everybody thinks they have the answers. So it's good to have a team that listens and wants to get better.
For sure. Shout out to all the state champions, all the state runner-ups, all the teams that competed in the state tournament. Great couple weekends of hoops here. Big shout out to Nick and Jay and Josh on the call all weekend long. So good stuff here on
Lady Huskers, man.
We're going to lead with that.
Yeah.
They had it strictly in the grasp.
It was
Couldn't
right in there.
Quite
grass.
Close the palm.
Man.
We'll talk about the women's Big Ten tournament. We'll set up the men's Big Ten tournament and more as we continue into hour 2 of On the Block.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Life is all about balance. So how about a little sweet and a little heat to make your week? At Wings and Rings, we're introducing our all-new Hot Honey menu for the month of March. Try our one-of-a-kind house-made sauce on the brand-new Hot Honey chicken sandwich or our Hot Honey shrimp and slaw. And of course, you can get it on the traditional boneless or smoked wings that have made Wings and Rings your go-to neighborhood spot. But don't wait, Hot Honey is only here until April 1st. So stop by Wings and Rings at one of our 2 Lincoln locations today, on O Street and on Village Lane.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months happening right now at Koppel. So take that short money saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with roof credit. Stock number G214773.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hour 2 of the show coming your way from 11th and O Streets, 1040 to be specific. Stop by, grab a cup of the milk coffee here today. Big thanks to Nebco, new sponsor here on the show. Check them out at nebcoinc.com, nebcoinc.com. Start your new career with them today. You might have heard my voice in a commercial just a minute or so ago, listing all the openings they have. There's something for everyone. So if you're looking for a change, looking to switch it up, make sure you give Nebco a look. Really looking forward to partnership with them here during On the Block. 402-464-5685. If you've got any thoughts on anything we're talking about here throughout the show. We turn our attention from the Husker men to the Husker women. Strick, they lose to Illinois in the regular season finale, dropped to the 5 seed instead of getting that double bye like the men got. Doesn't matter. They win their first round game over Purdue. It was tight. They pull away. They beat Michigan State, a team they don't like, handle that. Upset of the bracket was Maryland, the 8 seed, taking down top seeded Ohio State. Nebraska beats Maryland in the semis, on to the finals against Iowa, and a rip-roaring party in the first half. Huskers lead it by 11 at the break, outscore the Hawkeyes 23-17 and 23-18 in the first and second quarters. Yeah, Shelley hits a 3 going into the halftime locker room. Caitlin Clark was held to 4 points. It didn't hit a 3 in that first half. And you could feel two ways about it. Either, oh my gosh, they solved Caitlin Clark. They held her scoreless for the entire fourth quarter of the game in Lincoln. And now she's only at 4 points at halftime. Okay, they figured out the strategy. Or, okay, she's coming. She's coming. Don't poke her. She's coming. Iowa makes a run. They tie the game up, headed to the fourth quarter, 19-19 in the fourth, then to go to overtime. So close the Husker women were to snatching that Big Ten championship out from Iowa's grasp, but instead the Hawkeyes make it 3 of the last 3 because of 30. Yes, 30 points across the second half in overtime from Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I mean, she's the woman version to me of like Steph Curry, right? That Steph can have a struggle in a half and can freaking go nuts. And I'm talking about 3-pointers too. Yeah. Like he could go 1 for 7 or whatever, and then end up going 7 for 7 or something. That's how Caitlin is. And so, but what I would say for the women is impressive, but then you have to ask the question and this is what I'll ask you, Austin, you have to ask this question of the women. Is there stagnation? Like, or are they just who they are? Let's just start there. Like, how do you view it? I think the run something that kind of gives you a little bit more pause as far as looking into Coach Williams or anything like that? Or do you assess the recruiting class that they have coming and kind of make and I give it an idea as to whether or not this is an upward swing and we're hoping to see a little bit better? Because Nebraska, to me, they seem to find themselves kind of right there in that 4 or 5 position. pretty much consistently.
Absolutely. And there's no reason they shouldn't have had the 4 seed this year. But I think it was a successful enough regular season for the group. But Strick, I didn't have any questions about the regular season. You knew this group was solid. You know just how steady they were going to be. So to me, the questions come now in the second season and postseason tournament play. Okay, you took care of business in the 5-12 matchup. Good job. Congratulations. Beat a team that's probably even with you in terms of, overall record and style of play with Michigan State. Okay, good job. Okay, you're on to the Big Ten semifinals. That's not nothing. You get lucky, quite frankly, and have Maryland get on a burner and beat Ohio State. I'm not going to say Nebraska couldn't beat Ohio State, but Ohio State beat Nebraska by 30 points with 30 turnovers the last time these two teams played. So you don't feel nearly as good about that team making a run to the finals if it's Ohio State in the way as opposed to Maryland. But to their credit, they didn't get out in front of themselves. They took Maryland seriously. They shot like gangbusters in the first half from 3 to have a lead, held off Maryland's run late. So good job. Congratulations. Job well done. And then you competed with Iowa, right? Who'd been rolling throughout the Big Ten tournament, who has everything to play for, still looking to get a 1 seed in the women's NCAA tournament. And you're in position to win the game. Now, that being said, why couldn't they finish? That's what it comes down to. Iowa, you knew they had a spurt in them. You knew they had a run in them. You knew Caitlin Clark was going to get going. One missed shot here, there from Nebraska that didn't quite drop. I think about the 3 from, was it Nisley or was it Hake when they're up a couple possessions with a couple minutes to go? If it goes down, you feel really good about that game being over. But if it doesn't go down, we just fed into Iowa's momentum.
That's one of those, no. If it goes, yeah. It's no.
You just tighten up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so when you look at the stats, I mean, there's no differentiator. There's no differentiator. There's no differentiator in how the game was, shooting percentages and free throws. And there was nothing that showed glaring other than the fact that Caitlin went nuts. But this is why this is a game of runs. So you look at the overtime game, it's only 5 minutes. In a 5-minute span, it's basically the team that makes the first run is most likely going to win the game. If you make a run. Like sometimes it's a back-to-back.
Nebraska did make a run in overtime, but Iowa did just have enough in the tank to make that closing kick. So it was a weird, unusual overtime, to your point.
Right. That's what's crazy about it. And look, they did good. I give hand clap to the ladies because so my issue then becomes, where do we go from here? Like, I really, like you said, would love to see the second half go to another level for them. But my next question then, Austin, and to the listeners as well, 402-464-5685, if you are a partaker in the women's, sphere of the game, what do you see out of this team that you feel needs improvement? Like, is it guard play? Like you have Jazz Selley's been phenomenal for the Huskers as far as the position. Do you need more athleticism? As far as at the position, I think you've got a good balance of players, but what's going to give you that differentiator? Like, Iowa has that. Caitlin Clark is a differentiator. They have a bunch of ladies that play their parts. They do well, and they can do other things. When Caitlin leaves, they're still going to be fine. But what does Nebraska need? That's what I'm asking.
That's a fascinating question. I mean, you look at the recruiting class, it's headlined by Britt Prince coming in, but you can't expect her to take over everything Jazz Shelley did as a freshman. You hope she grows into that, but if she's there as a freshman, I'll be wildly impressed. Amaya Hargrove, scoring wing, okay, you like that. And then Kennedy Williams seems like she could be a versatile piece as well. But Strick, that's where I think it's an interesting conversation as you compare, maybe it's not fair to do this, but the women's team to the men's team, where you don't know who the best player on the men's team is. You do for the women. It's Jazz Shelley. And then it's Alexis Markowski. And then you get Potts stepping up to some degree for the most part. To me, it's not wing depth, guard depth for Nebraska. You look at, Hake up and down here and there, White before the injury kind of up and down here and there, Moriarty, okay. Maybe like an Allison Widener as a defensive sort of presence would be helpful for this team. Nisley, I think, has a bright future, But again, as a freshman, they went to her, put her in some tough spots with final shots against Illinois and then against Iowa. To me, another creator who can get downhill, who can attack, who can drive and dish. Like, yes, we know about Jazz Shelley and her ability to shoot the three, but Jazz is so good at getting downhill and making the right pass.
Yeah.
Another one of those to take some load off of her, to move her to the two sometimes. Obviously, you won't have that problem because she's graduating now, but that to me, who can step up here, get downhill, get 2 feet in the paint, drive, kick, and then knock down that second reversal?
There it is. I mean, because let me just make one point, right? My point is this. When you just look at the landscape of college women's basketball, one thing that you can kind of see is teams that have great success are very similar to the football in that it's the quarterback. Not saying it's the point guard or not saying, but it's a differentiator.
Star power.
Star power. Who yeah. And I don't know if Nebraska has it. And that's why you find that they're, pretty much right there where they are, right? Like, for example, you can see that effect, obviously, with Iowa, but you're starting to see it now of literally how this one person was able to turn a program just because she's special, like Juju Watkins over at USC, right? Freshman. Like, I actually, if you go and look into this young lady, if she stays, she actually could probably challenge Caitlin Clark's record. Like, she's going for 30 balls on the regular right now as a freshman.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're going to have to, like, be consistent at doing if you're going to get there. But if there's anyone that has a chance at doing it, and I think this could do something just for the women's game to have, like, their own little Mark McGuire and Sosa type in the women's game, right? Because right now, I think people are more interested in the women's college game right now than they are in the WNBA game.
Sure.
And I think this could spurn it, which hopefully, guess what ends up happening? If you want it to happen, then you get following. Because those same fans then begin to start peeking at what you're doing over here. And then hopefully you can start to build your base. Because, obviously, financially, it hasn't been good. It hasn't been very beneficial. Hopefully it can help them in that way to put the light better on them. And I hate that for Caitlin Clark, though.
Yeah.
I hate the burden that's going to put on her shoulders, right? You know what I mean?
Well, you saw the picture after the game of her recreating the Kobe pose with the trophy. Man, I don't have a comment on whether it's good or bad, but that's a lot. Whether you think it's good or bad, that's a lot to put something like that on her. She's obviously very talented. She must be welcoming, to that responsibility and that pressure. But that's where if you're the W, you need her to be good. And from the get-go. Because if you can have, Caitlin Clark versus Sabrina Ionescu as a rivalry for the next, 5-7 years, cool. You're growing your game. That's really awesome. But if Clark comes out and struggles, Paige Beckers, didn't declare, if she comes into the league and is just kind of a role player behind the scenes, I think you lose some of that momentum.
You're gonna.
Which as a college fan is awesome. To have these kids stay around, young men and women stay around is great in college. But if you're the WNBA, you need to make sure Caitlin Clark is successful from the get-go to capitalize on this moment.
Because, Austin, what's going to end up happening, right? It's very similar to a comedy show. It's very similar to a movie. It's very similar because those individuals are going to come in for something spectacular, or a restaurant, right? Going to a restaurant, it's been recommended, somebody says something about it, or you saw it, and you get bad service, or you get the food is just blah. You get one shot at them.
Right?
It's the same thing there, I think, in the WNBA. You're going to get one shot. That's why I think the early on success is going to determine, because those followers are going to peek in and see. And if they peek in and it's not a good show or the comedy's bad, I saw this just recently, Austin. I feel bad for the man, but I just happened to be perusing through social media. And there was a guy that did a comedy skit. I don't know what you call it, but he did a comedy thing. And they literally shut the lights off, the spotlight and the mic on the guy. That's what I'm talking about. You get one shot with the light shining on you. with the mic on, with the platform, to either knock it dead and knock it pause. Not. I don't want nobody getting hurt, but you know what I'm talking about.
Knock them out of the park.
Knock it out of the
Knock
park.
our socks
You
off.
got one shot, baby. So this is what you hope can happen. You hope the rivalry start. You know what I'm saying? You hope that Caitlin Clark and what happened with LSU.
Angel.
Angel. You know, you hope these little rivalries start to happen, right? This is where the NBA game has missed the mark. It went from you followed what? The team. You were Celtics. Celtics, Lakers, now you have rivalry.
You hated when the Bulls played the Pistons.
Right? You had that.
Pacers,
you knew,
Knicks.
You knew you had,
Cavs, Heat.
You knew you had the microwave, and you knew you had Isaiah Thomas, and you knew you had Reggie Miller, and you knew the Knicks with Reggie Miller and the choke and the stuff. You had that going on, and they were stars now. But the rivalries.
They didn't like each other.
Right.
At all.
So this is the problem with the NBA game, because you've now put that onus into the player. Those players are now on the way out the door. This is why you see people don't like LeBron right now, because it's not that they don't like LeBron, it's that you're continuously propping up a guy and they're in the bottom half of the West. Because you're propping the name. You've continuously did that with Steph and the Golden State Nuggets. And so now there's no now guess who they're trying to you want me to put you want to kind of throw a little small wager out there?
What I was going to ask,
they're propping up. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, how different is it for Wemby versus Caitlin Clark?
Ooh, but see, this is so. My moment's coming out. This is why I think they sent him down to Pop. It works out the way it works out. I'm not saying there's not knowing. I'm just saying it works out the way it works out.
Yeah.
You send him down to Pop. You put him in a marketplace that's very similar to what happened to who? Tim Duncan,
David Robinson,
right? Because
Patrick Ewing.
He's a nice guy. Humble guy. You don't want to stick. See, Patrick Ewing was a little different. He had a little bit
more
of
brass.
flair, brass.
Yeah, sure.
So the fit for New York was good. That was a
well.
good.
That's
to
what I'm
put
saying.
him
They're
in
targeting the fit for these.
They're targeting the fit. I think putting Wemby in San Antonio with that humility, just real humble, nice guy. That community works for him. Remember we talked about that with the Jets quarterback.
Oh, yeah, with Darnold and Wilson.
How he comes from BYU, different culture, goes up to New York and gets pounded by the media. It's not a place for that. So Wemby doesn't have to deal with that there. And I think that's so placement and location and who you surround them with can make that determination. What you're finding now in the NBA that's going to help them though, Chet Holmgren, Wemby. That rivalry is starting to kind of, like when they see each other, it's like
it's on
site, right? So if they can kind of start to create that type of magic again, not Magic Johnson, but that kind of magic, then I think that you might have something. And I think the person that they're looking to possibly now, Anthony Edwards.
Yep,
I think he's probably the one they're looking to make the shift to.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
On Caitlin Clark, how convenient that the team with the first pick in the WNBA draft, Indiana, Midwest, close to home, where she's built her following.
Yeah.
With Aaliyah Boston, who was a really highly rated pick. Played against her in college. It's all working out, Stricky. It's all coming up W right now.
Hey.
We're just saying.
The fever. Catch the fever.
There we go. Stricky Points back in the building. We'll take a break. We'll get Brian Munson on the horn, talk some Husker football recruiting, especially surrounding the upcoming spring game. How did Nebraska handle it last year? How will they handle it this year? And we'll talk some hoops to round out the show as well.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Brought to you by the Original Super Glue. Stop by your local participating Westlake Ace Hardware locations for your $10 savings coupon. Restrictions may apply. See store for details. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena March 29th and 30th.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done before school starts. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most. For all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Whether you're just starting your journey together or celebrating years of cherished memories, there's no better way to mark your love story than with fine jewelry. Join us at the Wedding Band Expo this weekend at Sartor Heyman Jewelers at South Point Pavilions. Enjoy an incredible 20% off all wedding and anniversary bands. Don't miss out on this opportunity to find the ring of your dreams at a price you'll adore. Sartor Heyman Jewelers Wedding Band Expo this weekend at South Point Pavilions.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular price athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the block, and we go to our VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand exceptional service with local heart. They sponsor Channel 961 for us as well. We welcome in Brian Munson of Husker Online. Lots to get to here with Brian. Lots popping up in the NFL. First, Brian, we know your Bills fandom is noted on this show. Deion Dawkins in, Mitch Morse, and Gabe Davis out. Interesting first day for your Bills. What's the vibe?
Yeah, Morse out really bothers me. It was not. He went to the Jaguars too, along with Gabe Davis. So I thought the offensive line was like one of the more consistent parts of the Bills team last year. I think it took a lot of pressure off of an offense that really struggled to find an identity under Ken Dorsey that finally found one about week 6. And, you had this consistency there. And I think it started up front with Morse and Dorsey. So, able to keep that elite kind of position of tackle, gets kind of the favoritism there. And Deion is a fabulous offensive tackle. And Gabe Davis, I think what's really interesting, it maybe kind of turned the knobs, I think, a little bit with, GM Bean and what's kind of going on there with the organization. I think that Buffalo had every intention of grabbing a wide receiver last year during the draft. And when it got down to, the top 3 or 4 guys had left and they had, I think Bean got back on the, had a question asked of him, like, did you have first round grades? And all the wide receivers that were taken in the first round, he said no. And I think that he had his eye on 1 or 2 guys, and then, Dalton Kincaid was there. And it kind of, I think, moved from how can you use Kincaid almost like a slot, in sort of a hybrid kind of role to basically, I think, almost kind of replace Gabriel. And Gabriel had some really inconsistent play last season. I know that everybody wants to go back and point to the AFC Championship game against Kansas City a couple of years back where he absolutely torched them, and he did. But he had some really bad drops last year, and I think that Buffalo was looking for some more consistency out of that position. I think that they'll end up drafting a wide receiver. I don't know if it's going to be safety first or wide receiver. Kind of depends where they're at, down on the draft, and they're plenty ways down the list again. So it'll be interesting to see what they can kind of pull off. There's a guy like T. Higgins that would make a lot of sense, in the free agency realm. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, they're trying. I think that they were $46 million over the cap. I think starting today. So between that and the restructuring on Von Miller, and they re-signed Dawson Knox, and I mean they were well over where they needed to be and where they need to get to still, I think, for the draft.
Would you like T. Higgins to pair with Stephon Diggs or to replace him?
Pair. I don't think that they're the same guy. I think Diggs needs somebody to kind of help take the pressure off of him. I think that you are getting some of that with Kincaid, and Knox missed a lot of time last season with injury. I felt like, you got me shifting gears here a little bit too much. I've given up on my Bills a little bit so far, so don't hold it against me. But the kid they had drafted a couple of years ago, and now, like I said, I'm completely blanking. He had really emerged, and might be a guy that they could see filling in the hole left by Gabriel Davis a little bit. But yeah, I think T. Higgins would be more of a complimentary kind of guy, not to come in and do any type of replacement. I still feel like, Diggs is going to be the guy in Buffalo. He just needs help. He needs some other help with some other weapons around him.
We'll switch gears, Brian, from your 2 areas of expertise, first from the Bills, now to Nebraska football recruiting. I got eyes on Nolan Fennessy at the state basketball tournament this last week. Remind Husker fans about what they're getting in the guy from Norfolk Catholic.
Big guy. I mean, really underrated, undervalued kind of an athlete, because I mean, we talked about him just a few times when it comes to his visits, when it comes to him walking on at Nebraska. He is definitely got some athleticism to him. He's 6'4"-ish, 270 some odd pounds. He's gonna be a guy I think that's gonna probably start on the offensive line for Nebraska. But don't be surprised if they're taking looks at other ways to kind of get him moved around and try to find a different home for him. So he is a great combination of size and strength and athleticism. Just a guy that just was a little bit under the radar. And I think Nebraska had just a tremendous walk-on class. But Tennessee, even in amongst that group of guys right there, gets a little looked over. But that Norfolk Catholic product right there, he was almost averaging like a double-double, I think, throughout the season. So, yeah, fantastic basketball player. Really going to be a strong guy for Nebraska to bring in and try to build up and figure out how he's going to fit.
A lot of interesting names in that class as well. The ones that stand out to me, Isaac Dickey, right out of Cross County.
Yep.
You look at Bodie Sukup, the quarterback from Blair, Connor Shute out of Bishop Neumann, and Trent Euler, right? The legacy there. What do you? Are any of those guys, offense and defense contributors? Are they special teams guys? Who has the ceiling in that group?
Oh man. Well, Euler's interesting. Euler is a guy that I think is gonna play running back. I think he could potentially play defense. He's a guy that I felt like, I think he's having a heck of a track season again so far, this year. It's going to be very interesting to see like where things kind of end up with him. I think what's the guy that you out of the three, and I love Bodie. Don't get me wrong. I think Bodie is going to be another guy that got kind of looked out of Blair, kind of overlooked out of Blair. But Isaac Dickey, already in Lincoln. And was already, this kind of physical presence kind of guy, and just a workout dude, and just not somebody that you're going to be able to go out there and scare him or get him to start doubting himself at any time. I think he's the kind of guy that's coming in right now, and he's building some fantastic type of confidence in himself, in his abilities. He's 5'10"-ish, 205, 210 pounds or whatever, and just had like you said, a fabulous career at Stromsburg. And I think that, since he's back on campus now and getting a chance to kind of work with the guys, get kind of brought in with that freshman group. It's an interesting looking running back room, so far this spring, and it's going to be even more interesting as they maybe start putting more thought into more of a true fullback, as a guy that potentially can do some different things, a little bit more versatile of a guy. He's also a guy that it would not surprise me at all if he starts, hearing his name getting mentioned around, like what you said about for special teams too, because he's so well put together. And I think that those guys have got to be just a little bit off, to kind of play that fullback position or want to play that fullback position in the D1 level.
Is it fair to throw the Andy Janovich comparison on there? Or is that unfair at this mark?
I think from a production perspective, it's probably fair. I think that Andy may have had a little bit more Corey Schlesinger in him, just to where he was such a physical guy carrying the football. And I think he was so strong, lower body wise, to where he could initiate contact and keep his balance and keep his legs moving. And he was able to pick up tough yards after the carry, excuse me. I think Isaac is obviously a guy that could really prove me wrong and could be better than those two guys. But I mean, for him to kind of be thrown around yet as an Andy really, I think the word really got out about Andy, about the Shrine Bowl after he had signed and after he was headed to Lincoln to walk on. I think that, Isaac is not going to have that opportunity to, but he's behind closed doors right now. We'll have to see how he emerges at the spring game.
Talking with Brian Munson of Husker Online here. I'm glad you brought up the spring game, Brian. We'll get to that here in just a sec. But a guy whose name I heard for the first time, thanks to you, Marquise McIntyre Daly out of Omaha North. We know Nebraska has started to mine Omaha North, has in the past. What do we need to know? What's the overview on Marquise McIntyre Daly? I
think McIntyre Daly is going to catch some people off guard. He's not going to be a guy that we're going to talk about, being in the top 6 or even top 7 or 8 players in the state, but he deserves to be mentioned. He's been running track since he's been since he was 6 years old. And now instead of 6-year-old guy elevated now to 17 years. So go forward another 11 years. Now he's a 6'3", 235-pound dude that runs a sub 11 second 100 meter and almost ran a sub 22 second 200 meter. This guy can fly. This guy can outright fly. I'm telling you right now, there's two names that people really need to remember. One is McIntyre Daly, and the other one is Sawyer Schilke, because I think that both those guys are very similar looking guys to me. They're 6'3-ish, 230, 235. And I think that both guys are going to be able to test very, very well. Wherever they go, they're going to have a chance to really, this summer, the summer and the camp circuit that they're going to get a chance to go do, in front of Rule and in front of all the other schools. It's going to catch some people off guard how well those guys, move and where people can kind of finally start seeing them, playing the jack linebacker spot, or potentially as kind of a hand in the dirt, little hybrid looking, 7, technique defensive end. Those two guys right there are very similar in nature when it comes to stature. I give McIntyre Daly the edge when it comes to athleticism. I think Sawyer Schilke's got a little bit more instinctual grade over McIntyre Daly, but both are guys that I think are going to surprise some people during the summer circuits this year.
You brought up the spring game, and I want to circle back to that because we have one spring game in the books for Matt Rule and his staff, the other one coming up here in 6-7 weeks or so. How do you think Nebraska handled recruiting around the spring game last year? What do they need to keep the same this year? What do you think might change this year?
Yeah, the spring game last year, boy, there were some dudes in town, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had Baker and Matudi and just some other guys. Ended up getting the safety, obviously, from Philadelphia as a walk-on a little bit later on. But
did Frazier make it down?
Yeah, he did. He was there. I was there that night when I interviewed him there in the hallways of Husker Online Studio. They brought in some huge names, and obviously not a lot of them panned out. Some of them were return visits. I think that people will never understand or will ever believe, when we urge people or tell people the story that, Nebraska was very much in the picture with Brandon Baker, I think, until, he decided to go ahead and commit to Texas. I think Nebraska made that much closer than a lot of people would realize. I think that he was really blown away and fascinated by what Matt Rule and Nebraska had kind of going. But I think now you get this 3-day official visit, to bring those guys in. I think that you can really recreate some really team family vibes that you can kind of more easily introduce those players into that situation. And I think that that'll be incredibly beneficial. And obviously you'll have guys like Raiola on campus, that'll be able to help things out. I think that a lot of those players, when you take a look at particularly a Michael Terry, who's the number one athlete in the country, according to On3, he's going to want to see it firsthand. And you're rolling, Raiola out, there onto the field, and a Jack Lang, is going to get a chance to look at it too, who could be Nebraska's number one offensive tackle on their board. So I think that you've got a little bit more of a product. I think that's going to be appealing to some of the players in the stands, because they're still seeing young guys having an impact. And I think Matt Rule and his staff do such a great job of kind of bringing it all together, making sure the coaches are a huge part of the weekend are available, and every turn, one of the recruits has got somebody with them. But I think also you got this unique opportunity to kind of do it again with the players and not have the distractions of kind of a regular season home game and rolling into practices and having a workout then on Sunday. They're going to get a full 3-day visit out of those guys.
Obviously the players will be, busy with spring football workouts, but they will need some on-campus hosts. Dylan Raiola aside, who are the other, leaders that you think Nebraska is going to send to these recruits or send these recruits to? Is Kalen in that mix? Is it Carter Nelson? Is it more experienced guys? Who are the on-campus hosts that you think Nebraska wants to present to these recruits?
Yeah, if Carter was on campus, I think that would be That would be a guy. I mean, I think obviously Carter will be there as a visitor. I think most of the guys that were 2024 that aren't enrolled will be around and get a chance to talk to them and see them. But I think, like Mario Buford is very interesting because you got a player like Elijah Bo Barnes that's coming in from Dallas Skyline that weekend. You also have former teammate Keelan Abrams that'll be there that played with Buford last year, the former Purdue commitment. So I think Buford will be interesting because, he's in the Dallas area. I think you get some guys like a Ja'Cory Barney who's on campus along with Davon Hall, both guys that we've heard really good things about so far and what they can kind of share with, Michael Terry, who's coming in, like I mentioned before, the wide receiver, also Emmanuel Choice, who's from Lancaster, Texas. You get a chance to tell some other young wide receivers about what they got kind of going in the room, what they got kind of going offensively. And I think those are going to be some big guys, I think, for them to bring in because of the players that have gotten to Nebraska early that would be seniors right now in their last semester in high school. But they'll have a chance to go in there and talk to some guys that have had a chance to see this now for about 3 months, and it'll be invaluable to them to hear that firsthand account.
I'm not exactly hipster or cutting edge with this take, but Cortez Mills seems good. I think plenty of other people have that take. Is he a guy that Nebraska could maybe convince to get up to the spring game?
I think Cortez Mills is probably the number one wide receiver on Nebraska's board. I every week it's going to be amazing for us to talk about the highlights that get brought up about him because he's the best 50-50 guy in America. He said it himself, and I said it a week ago in 3 and Out. I was like, that's the kind of guy that's missing in the wide receivers room for Nebraska. That they need a guy that they can trust, that they feel like any 50-50 situation that they've got with him on the field, he has an advantage. He has incredible awareness and body control. You just don't see that with all the guys. I went to a place in comparison with him and Jackson Smith and Jigba because my son grew up with Jackson Smith, and Jackson Smith and Cortez Mills do very, very similar things on the football field. And that is just about the highest possible, compliment I can give to somebody. I think Cortez Mills is got it, but Cortez Mills is going to come in. I doubt he gets there for the visit in April, so everybody has to hold their breath that he'll be there in the middle of June, June 14th. He's coming in for an official visit then.
When you say Jackson Smith and Jigba, that strikes me as more like a feel kind of processing, good route runner type, more so than like a, athletic marvel. And you look at, obviously plenty athletic, but we know Nebraska's targeted the burners and the physique in the wide receiver room. Mills 50-50 and more a feel guy, you're saying?
I totally agree with that assessment. I think that this is a guy that's not going to have that 10-2, 10-3 speed. Not going to say that he won't run incredibly well if he's running track. I think that what you get with him is intangible, and it's not going to be something that's going to show up on paper. Maybe he's got ultra large hands, maybe his wingspan is going to be crazy long. Maybe it's one of those things about him. I think when you get to guys like him and Cortez and Jackson, I think you get into such a natural ability to play that position that's like they've been doing it ever since they could walk. And it's been a lifelong perfection of their craft. And I really feel like that's, like I said, it's about the highest compliment I can give to anybody because Jackson was the number 14 or 15 pick overall in last year's NFL draft. I think it's a great, if people would have seen Jackson and understood that he could run away from people, but really in the tight spaces, coming down with the ball, one-handed catches, understanding, where his feet are at, inbounds and whatnot, every single play. Like this first touchdown against Nebraska at Columbus during COVID in 2020, people would understand like how special that type of talent is. And that's essentially what I would say about Cortez Mills too.
We'll keep monitoring that. I'll do that by following Brian on Twitter at @BrianMunson_, also at Husker Online, part of the On3 network. Brian, as always, appreciate the time. Good luck with the Bills in free agency. I know we'll talk soon.
Weather's getting warmer, man. Spring football's around the corner. We'll talk soon.
There he is, Brian Munson of Husker Online with us on our VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll bring Stricky back in, wrap up on the block, crossing it over with Old School. Jay Foreman in the building, get you set for Old School DP&J next.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com. At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through March 17th, prepare for St. Patrick's Day with great options like corned beef brisket point cuts for $3.99 per pound and 6 packs of Guinness for just $4.88 when you buy at least $5.01 in fresh meat. And for ticket listeners only, get USDA Choice Eye of Round roast for $3.99 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Shopping Square Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done before school starts. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular price athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
93.7 The Tickets, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The link forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine. It will be breezy and very warm. We'll see a high around 76. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, especially with a low around 44. And tomorrow, maybe sunny skies return and still does go well. We'll see a high around 74. I'm meteorologist out by 93.7 The Ticket and the TicketFM.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by advanced medical imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all, your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Stop by TCA Outdoor Power on March 22nd and 23rd for an open house and customer appreciation celebration. TCA Outdoor Power is a locally owned business located at 6210 South 57th Street and prides itself on being Lincoln's only elite steel dealership for over 20 years. On March 22nd and 23rd, enjoy 10% off select steel products and up to $350 off on select battery tools. Also, if you buy 2 steel batteries, you can double your limited warranty. Give TCA Outdoor Power a call today at 402-420-9424 or visit them for their open house celebration March 22nd and 23rd.
Whether you're just starting your journey together or celebrating years of cherished memories, there's no better way to mark your love story than with fine jewelry. Join us at the Wedding Band Expo Expo this weekend at Sartor Heyman Jewelers at South Point Pavilion. Enjoy an incredible 20% off all wedding and anniversary bands. Don't miss out on this opportunity to find the ring of your dreams at a price you'll adore. Sartor Heyman Jewelers Wedding Band Expo this weekend at South Point Pavilion.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Hill and 70th and Vine.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at the ticketfm.com on the internet. KNTK FM 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and the ticketfm.com.
We're back.
We got. I gotta get you back in line. No, you good? No strict. Yeah. You all good in the hood. You my homie. But you know, we got to get you back in line. I gotta do it all the time with Slick Nick. I had to do it maybe more for Austin.
Nah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you do. Strick, what's up, baby?
You got it, man. I'm just glad to be back at the building.
I gotta ask you, Strick.
Yo,
I know you guys are talking about all things. We won't talk about the Lakers and LeBron. So I don't want to welcome you back with that, but I want to welcome you back, man, because all seriously, your Bellevue West Thunderbird came through, man.
Yeah,
you know it didn't look good. I don't know if you were able to watch the first round. Okay, so
it was close. It was like 2 points, wasn't it?
Listen,
something like that.
Listen, my man Steve Klein, Coach Klein, big shout out to Coach Klein. He's a good dude. Yeah. Hey, Sphincter must have had to be tight. He tried to act like it wasn't tight. That first round, listen. Yeah, hey, Coach Lucky and Creighton Prep. I know I got actually said, man, you got 1,200 kids up there. They had 2 guards. They came to play. Creighton Prep was knee deep in Bellevue West Thunderbird for the full 3 quarters, like 7/8 of the game.
Why was the score so low?
They was locking y'all up.
Really?
Shooting bricks. Physical.
Stealing cookies.
Give me that. You guys look like you didn't want to play. Creighton Prep was coming. Boston, 6'8", even work. 3 inside-outside game. Looked like Detlef Shrimp. Then they had my man inside levels like Rodman, Parker. Hey, beat them everything. Get a rope off the backboard.
Give me that.
Yeah. But you know what happened? They started to kind of Eldon Turner hit a shot right before half, but then Creighton Prep came out again. And here's what changes the game. Here's how they won. It's just in my opinion. They got Parker got a moving screen, right? Bellevue, okay. Jaden Jackson comes down, top of the key. Who'd you say? Butt naked. Mm-hmm. Take it. Barely went in though, because it was like one of the ones that kind of just go over the rim, but it went in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm down again. They missed the bunny. Austin missed the bunny. Got even hit. Came down again. Jaden Jackson.
Bang bang.
Back to back. Hey, hello? Yeah, I'm here. I'm answering the call. He answered the call. Game over after that. It was like, Bellevue.
Yeah.
And then they went in the next round.
You said that always about them, though. It's like something they do. They just
get, you know what? The one thing I would tell you, and this is a credit to you, though, because I know you play D and Coach Woodard and all them or whatever. And, all the coach, you guys have, I think it started with how you guys play, because I always think it's always laid down beforehand. The one thing Bellevue West does better than anybody else, they play deep. Mm-hmm. So even when Creighton was just out, because Creighton would come out, and if you watch the game and the energy in the game, you're like, oh, they up by 12. Well, they getting stopped. They only down by 4. So sooner or later, you know what I'm saying?
Because it could have been up.
Didn't give enough cushion.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they defend. There's no second chance points really. And 50-50 balls, they getting on it. then they jump ball in you if they so they keep just kind of kind of like remember James Toney?
Yeah.
He'd be in there taking it, then he'd be jabbing it, next thing you know, you done.
Yeah.
And then he hit you with and then they got in. I thought this was the year that Miller was going to beat him. But here's why I knew Miller was going to lose. Westside was tougher than them.
Okay.
That's what I felt.
Okay.
Austin, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll take your word for it. You were there.
I felt like they were just a little bit tougher. And I don't even want to say it because I don't want people to be blowing up text and be like,
"You're splitting hair."
Yeah, splitting hair. I just felt like C.J. Mitchell, Caleb Benning, Lofton, Stubblefield, Healy.
And it was a turnover, the late turnover. It was that shot off.
Yeah. But here's the problem I have with.
He drove right into the thick of the deep.
You take the word.
Oh,
What do you always tell me about when the Huskers played up in Minneapolis last night? What do people do? Go full speed, right hand. If you're gonna do that, I want your opinion. If I'm trying to get Strick down here, I want you away from the 3-point line.
Fact.
Because I think you can in and out dribble.
Fact.
I call it a crab dribble.
It creates more space.
Yeah, and you get through there, you can throw burglar in there, you get something off the glass. When you're too close to the 3-point line and you out there kind of like jacking around, well, then everybody can do it. I want to do it. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
But see right there, but then Bellevue West looked a lot better when they got through. And then, they just defended. I think Miller just didn't hit. They weren't hitting. They were hitting good. They had great shots. Yeah, they just weren't hitting. And you know how it is, man. 3 games in 4 days.
Oh yeah.
And if you
especially if you're in a barn burner or you're in a knockdown drag out, it can weigh on you. That's why we lost. When I was in the finals, we had played Benson in the first round. Obviously, that was a big rivalry. We beat them, and then we played our probably toughest game, our hardest game. We played up in Southeast, and they were just big. You know what I mean?
Right. Where you at?
I had to play 4. I had to play 4 point.
Yeah.
Compared to your NBA streak.
It really did.
Like Draymond.
Yeah.
I
had to.
Yeah, let me get that Draymond.
And so I had to guard, big guys. And then so you play that knockdown drag out against Southeast, then you got to play Miller South. And they were big.
Yeah.
Miller South, they were 6'8". Their front line, Devin Rollins was banging on people's heads. 6'8". 6'6". Oh, Devin's probably 6'5", 6'8". He can jump like 6'8".
Yeah.
But that's what you end up getting wore down. And especially if you're running, we were averaging almost 90 points a game.
Let me ask you this, Rick. I got 2 questions. Talk about when you were. I think Miller's more of a jump shooting team. You probably say Austin, right? With Monster.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Talk about the ability or how your jump shot can be affected by that third game.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're playing a team like Bellevue that, listen, they hard hedging, they physical, they bumping
and they gonna run you,
and they gonna run you on offense. And so you're gonna have to talk about that because I think people don't really understand that.
Well, what it is, and you learn it as you get older, right? You don't learn it probably at a younger age because you're just so athletic. You can go in I used to just go in the gym and just start jumping. So you've got that. You can run for days. You feel this you pretty much can. But what you don't learn is they don't play that way, right? They play maybe 2 games in a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Maybe Tuesday and Friday. Yeah.
Right? Friday, if you're in a tournament, maybe but that's rare.
Right.
So you've already played full season. Now you've got to go 3 back-to-back, hard, knockdown, everybody's getting after you physical. But what you don't know as a jump shooter, and you don't learn this, is you've got to shoot on the way up. Like no matter how tired you are, no matter how weak you feel, you've got to be, when you release that ball, even if you're not jumping and have the same elevation that you normally, you still got to shoot on the way up. And so what happens is when you're fatigued, you start holding the ball and you release.
Yeah. And you actually release on the way down. Yeah, because I saw a lot more front rim shots.
Yeah. That's what that's
right.
all it is.
And the ones were just grazing the front, which guys that know they can shoot. So that's the interesting part about the whole nuance of basketball, man. And I'm gonna tell you, I want to ask you another thing, Strick. I was watching Norris against Scott Catholic. Now Scott Catholic had 2 dudes. One 6'9", 1 6'8".
Okay.
Like, and they was active. Brock Hill was active.
It was a little bump and grind.
And he had
And he stands in on the court.
Yeah.
That wasn't
That wasn't
that wasn't two Scott people. It was our opposition. I seen it live.
You saw it live in color?
My man was quick. I like it though. There was no questions asked. Once we get in the act, once we decide to get active.
It wasn't that
no. It's hum. It was four, but the fourth one kind of slid off a little bit.
4-piece ties?
But them 3-piece was
the Kobe Bryant?
Yeah. No, you know what it was? He was so quick on it. He was like when Chris Childs stole on Kobe. That's what it was. When Kobe thought he was like funky, Chris Childs, I don't know where he's from, but whoever taught him, he's like, throw your first one. And he hit it with that 2-piece chicken wing with the side.
If you had to guess where Chris Childs was
I think Chris Childs was
Jersey.
New York? Try Bakersfield.
California?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just grew up.
He moved back there.
He grew up getting beat up.
Went to Boise for college.
Yeah.
Oh, then you had to fight because you was probably all the brothers up there. Go one of them little, what they call it, hold downs, where you go there and keep your feet up when you're in the country dance or something.
And then we used to go out there. What's we call it? What's on the other side over there by the airport? Nigga, it's just open back up. That little bar that's over there.
Yeah, people was getting put to sleep.
I was doing amateur strip hour.
See, you know, this is the
I did.
problem.
I wore some Jordan.
This is the problem with
I
this.
did.
Want some Jays?
I wore some Jays. I said, I want them Jays. I went out there and worked some.
You
Got
better
busy, Strickland.
Yeah. This dude here. Well, I wanted to ask you, man. So they had 2 6'8" dudes, right?
I'm OC right now.
And then they had 3 physical guards.
Okay.
Royal Grove.
Awesome.
I'm not even gonna ask you about that. I'm gonna just keep it above board right now. I'm thoroughly disappointed. Okay.
It was a one-time
just leave it
Or some Jays.
there. Straight. I got the Jays.
Let's just leave this table that right now.
Okay.
We'll get back. We got some other.
MVP
There he is. There he is.
Yeah.
So straight. Norris doesn't have a lot of height.
Okay.
But they won't play zone.
That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, if you're at a disadvantage, that's no bueno.
Right. The problem, I don't know what it is. I think they get a playbook, and let's get it back to it. But it's like all you can do is run man. There he is. Yeah, the man of the hour.
Big.
He's
Strick,
back.
let us introduce you to MVP Mike.
Yeah, Strick. Strick. When you was gone and up in the Himalayas, he blessed us with some meat. When you was up in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's for me.
Yeah. Big shout out to Mercado. Certified Piedmontese, special greens and poultry. 80 something half lot, 30 Yankee deal.
Smoked beef jerky.
That's what I'm saying.
Some golden spicy beef jerky.
There it is.
And there's some beef sticks in there, some habanero.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Welcome back, Jack. Yeah.
I came back to the right.
Yep. Hey, yeah, your fridge is stocked. Hey, your fridge is stocked, brother.
That's great.
This is all your guys.
Mike.
Man.
I got a question for Mike. Yeah. It's the first day of free agency. This is the tampering period.
Uh-oh.
Are you happy with what Seattle done so far?
I am.
Even though they're gonna let Bobby Wagner go?
That's real sad, but you know, it is what it is.
He actually played too good.
Yeah,
That's the part. Yeah, he played too good. Yeah.
I'm rooting against that. They got rid of King. I don't like it.
Seattle did?
Yeah, they got
Well,
rid
you
of
take
King.
it up with him.
They got rid of my guy.
Like, I got these.
So listen, it's a must go out there. 84th and a half mile.
Yeah, we've been out there.
The summer sausage is summer. It's looking very summer.
Yeah, very much.
Summer sausage with the jalapeno cheese.
Yeah,
I get them to cut the cheese up, cut my sausage up, and I be bringing them in here. And
Yeah, we do.
Woo! It's the best.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Summer sausage is so fire.
And
y'all gotta go out there, man. You never go out to the Piedmontese.
It's
out there. Man, it's beautiful. Yeah.
MVP Mike,
lovely place to work, man.
You're the man. Appreciate you coming in.
Hey, anytime.
Stricky's back on the show.
Anytime I got something, I'll bring it out for you guys.
Okay. Yes. Strick's back on the show. Jay Foreman sitting in old school DP. MVP Mike coming through again.
That's the most important
Appreciate
thing.
you.
MVP Mike. We love you, Strick. MVP Mike.
That's way to welcome you back. There we go. Old school DP and Jay coming up right after this.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time.